I don't think it's dramatic to say that painting saved Julia's life, and this is the story of how.
There are no words I have to say in this moment.
We chose this life in the rainforest because it gave us the ability to explore our creativity to the fullest, to be inspired by the richness of colours, the verdant greens, fluorescent pinks, deep golds, inspired by the wild, chaotic growth, by the soft waters, by the morning sun, and to channel it all into art.
We are farmers, gardeners, growers, amateur builders, but most of all, we are artists. But you might have noticed that my sister Julia hasn't been around much lately, and that's because over the last year, her health has been really bad and she's barely had the energy to do much more than just get out of bed each day. So this week, I just wanted to sit down and kind of give you guys an update on everything that's happening with Julia's health and all the details and diagnoses and all that's going on. You've really started to feel like an extended family for us, so I just thought I'd sit down and tell you everything, Julia's whole health journey and all of the updates and everything that's going on. My sister Julia is a painter and she creates these beautiful artworks that depict the natural world and our place within it.
Julia has been making art since she was born, and as a kid, she was always creating something. She started painting when she first got sick and continued to practice as a teenager who usually didn't have the energy to do anything else. She was too sick to go to school at the time, so instead she would paint all day. I remember getting home from school to another grand artwork. She had stacks of paintings, and with each one she just got more and more skilled. She's completely self-trained, and I think this is her strength because as a young kid she built her own practice. She learned how to paint by trying, stroke by stroke, and over the years, or decades now, her hands learnt this intricate practice. And her style is so uniquely her own style because it was born from years of hardship and years of growth.
But I guess that's how we learn, by setting fire to things that bring us life before we got to watch them burn. And so I'll say goodbye, because I'd rather kill a good thing than wait for it to die.
Julia has had significant health problems since she was 12 years old and she was first diagnosed with ME or chronic fatigue syndrome, and since then she's seen hundreds of different doctors and tried anything to feel well again. She's got so many different diagnoses like POTS or fibromyalgia or chronic pain, chronic headaches, or intracranial hypertension, but all of this has always just kind of come to more dead ends and left her with more questions than she had answers. And she's tried everything. She's tried, traditional Western medicine, she's tried herbal medicine, she's tried acupuncture, and nothing has really been able to bring her any kind of healing. So she's had this debilitating fatigue and chronic pain for so many years now, but recently she got some imaging done and it revealed that she had severely compressed jugular veins, and so they are obstructing the flow of blood to her brain. And this is a rare condition called vascular Eagles syndrome, and the doctors said that her compression was some of the worst that they've ever seen, and so they've recommended getting surgery for it. And the surgery can decompress her veins as well as shave some of the bone away so that the obstruction of blood can be lessened. And yeah, she's been recommended this surgery. She's been on a wait list for a really long time. It's quite rare, and so there's only one surgeon in all of Australia who does this surgery, and he's one of the only ones in the world doing it. And so she's been on the wait list for, I think, 6 months now, but a cancellation has come up in a few days. So we're all going to fly down to Sydney, and we're a bit worried, we're a bit scared of this surgery, of course, but if it can bring her any sort of relief, it's great that we've found this problem that has definitely been contributing to her health problems and could be the first step of healing.
Watching the surface on the burning gas. A few times I nearly packed up my bags. You said, baby, please don't leave. There is so much we've left to see. Stay with me. I said I would.
For Julia, moving her body is a privilege, and it's been this way for most of her life.
If I could get a passport.
She's had these problems with her energy levels since she was 12. So basically, as much as she sleeps or rests or cares for her body, she still wakes up with no energy. The terrible aches and pains that we all get in our worst, most memorable flus, she has these all of the time. Headaches and migraines, pressure and pain. These impossible weights of life have made her so gently intentional with how she moves through the world.
Searching for fish while you're searching for me.
If she's going through a time where her symptoms aren't so bad, then she utilizes the world for all that it is. She watches each sunrise and sunset. She jumps into the coldest water and gorges she finds in the most wild mountains. She paints and paints and paints, and she expresses all of the feelings that she's had to suppress. She dances through the luxury of time spent on this earth. And then, when her health is bad, she waits and rests. She lifts her muscles just to fill sketchbooks with ideas, waiting for a time when her body can carry her again. She's taught me the privilege of just being well, reminding me to understand the wealth of just being able to feel sunshine on my skin each day as I do the farm chores, of the honor I should feel to be able to walk and sing and move my body and to create.
You said stay with me. You pressed your hands against the darkest spaces of my skin. Tell me my body has been so beautifully lifted. I almost felt.
If you would like to support Julia in this time, this is actually a secret to her, but I've updated her whole fine art print catalogue, so if you do feel like you're in a position to, you can buy an art print from her, and that will go towards contributing to the cost of her surgery. We do have free public healthcare here in Australia, but because the only neurosurgeon available is private, we've had to go through the private hospital system, and we don't have private health insurance, so things are going to be pretty expensive. So if you have been thinking about buying an art print, now is the time to do so, because it would mean so much to Julia right now, not just in terms of it contributing towards the big costs of her surgery, but also she makes this art to share the beauty of the world. So I think for her, sharing it across the world with you, that's just going to mean so much to her.
Every painting that she's made over the last few years is available, so if you have a favorite, it's there. And each of them are available in 3 sizes. I've added options to buy the prints framed, so if you'd prefer to not frame them yourself, they can arrive ready to hang. So an A3 one like this is just $50 US, or if you want it framed either in black, white or natural, then it's $140 US. There's also bigger options available too. A frame print like this is the bigger size in A1.
We're working with local printers in the US, UK, Europe and Australia, so that environmentally they don't have to be shipped around the world, and also that means we can offer free shipping to you. And so that's available on framed and unframed prints, but framed prints are limited to just the US, Australia, New Zealand, UK and Europe only. The link is in our description, so you can check it out there. Also, some of her original works are available, so you can email us about that if you're interested. Hopefully this surgery can get Julia's health back to a place where she's able to paint again, and I'm imagining a time where I can be by her side creating and watching her create this beautiful artwork as it slowly unfolds. But for now, she's just focusing on resting and healing and preparing for this big surgery.
In the eagerness of early December,
Julia has always used this practice as a way of healing. Each stroke is a tribute to her own connection with nature. Her paintings highlight the fragile beauty of the natural world alongside her own existence. Her work creates these worlds, these realms where everything seems like almost a dream, but they're so familiar.
is it warm down there?
She paints these portals into almost memories. She merges portraiture with landscape to literally blur the lines between humans and nature and remind us to surrender to nature and just be one with the grand interconnected systems. To understand ourselves as one with the earth.
A single speck of light.
Watching Julia paint is mesmerizing in itself, and while she hasn't been able to paint recently, I've been reflecting on the last few years and each of her artworks.
But he is in my bedroom, unfurling, and I'm uncertain I can't play as I have played before, but I am a performer, of course I'll perform.
As she paints, she slowly unravels this world around her, and through her brushwork, she creates these layers of focus that feel like memories of fleeting feelings. I think in her work, she plays off our own emotions and memories, our own feelings of rest and peace and surrender to nature.
Through the hours of cold, reaching for
Through these reflections and strokes and mystical lights, she materializes this feeling of healing that you get from being in a natural place. Her work acts as a reminder to see ourselves woven through nature and to see nature woven through ourselves.
through the hours of cold. Pressing forward, the sun to come and find me. Must I bring down?
Julia's main illness has always been chronic fatigue syndrome, and this is a highly misunderstood sickness. A lot of people hear the name and just assume that it means always being tired. And so many of us relate to this, and so many people with ME CFS get constant people telling them that they too are also fatigued or that they relate to the syndrome. It's actually much more complex than this, and I guess it has a bit of a misleading name. It is a complex, chronic, and debilitating physical disorder that's characterized by extreme, persistent fatigue that is not improved by rest. The fatigue is at a cellular level, so your mitochondria just aren't able to produce the necessary energy for a body to function. The best explanation that I've heard is the credit card analogy, where, say, each of us has a credit card with energy instead of money. The average person might have 1,000 energy dollars on their card, when someone with CFS will have 40. Every activity has a cost, so a hike might be 100 energy dollars and a shower might be 10. When you spend more than your budget, you go into overdraft and use credit card energy. This adrenaline-fueled fake energy might feel okay when you first use it, but the energy interest means that you end up having to pay a lot back. This is when a crash to your health happens, a period of severe illness, pain, and exhaustion, where the body must repay the debt of the energy spent earlier. This is why Julia has to be so careful not to push her energy threshold, because when she does, even without knowing it at the time, then her health will decline in the days afterwards and her symptoms will get much worse. Sometimes you can recover from a crash in a few days, but sometimes it can take weeks or even years to return to your previous baseline. And I think the unpredictability of this is part of what makes this such a difficult disease to live with. People with severe ME are bedbound, unable to move or tolerate light, sound, or touch. The illness itself is quite a mystery. No one knows where it comes from or the methods of treating it. It's very under-researched, but affects millions of people across the world. With long COVID, a lot more research is being done because they share a lot of characteristics, but it's still so much of a mystery. For more than 15 years, Julia has been to thousands of doctors, and because it's so under-researched and so misunderstood, she's met dead ends after dead ends. Some doctors greet her with this confidence and they can fix all her symptoms in a week. They're obsessed with some new trend or medicine that has maybe worked for some people, but every time it ends up not doing anything to her symptoms. Other doctors just admit that they have no idea how to treat it and can't offer any help. Julia has learnt many things over the years, particular medicines that help a little, herbs that soften one symptom, or techniques to not lose so much energy. She's taken lessons from every doctor, herbalist, physio, or acupuncturist and follows these practices diligently. The thing that has helped her a lot is diet, and Julia's health is the reason that we all eat organically and, where we can, mostly homegrown. We don't know what caused Julia's illness, but we have to worry about our food, considering pesticides, chemicals, and growing techniques. It's terrifying that these known toxins are allowed in commercial food systems, and we are very grateful to be privileged enough to be able to avoid them. But I personally believe that fresh food available without known toxins should be accessible to everyone, and it's a strange world that we live in when poisonous food is the norm. With Julia's health, there's always this balance between conventional medicine, things like this surgery, and then also balancing with natural remedies too. We've found that living in the rainforest, there are so many ways to heal all around. There are many medical papers about how forest bathing and immersing yourself in nature has huge benefits. It reduces your stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, improves immunity, enhances your mood, and lets you sleep better. With this surgery coming up, I'm telling myself that Julia's health is like an ecosystem. And in our experience of regenerating the forests, it's hard and sometimes can feel unachievable. But small things like pulling weeds lets the ecosystem come back to itself, and it can thrive. Pulling weeds lets natives grow. Native plants' roots grow deep and slow the river, letting it flow and feed the ecosystem with nutrients. We're hoping that this surgery will be that, the first step of many to let her ecosystem come back to itself. I always think of this quote we wrote in our book: see your life like an artwork and your artwork like a life. Don't try to view it all at once. Notice a convergence of many elements entwined. A portrait consists of 1,000,000 tiny strokes. A life consists of 1,000,000 tiny moments. When Julia paints, you see this thought in action. Each of her strokes seems almost erratic and messy, and you can't understand its place within the greater artwork, but she knows. Freedom is guided by diligence. Structure is punctuated by fluidity. Her hand moves guided by this intuition, and each tiny, messy stroke creates the beautiful, larger work. All of the parts of Julia are in these paintings, her experiences, hardships, memories, joy, and despair.
Baby, you're gonna be a daddy. I really want to be the cool auntie like I am to my best friend's dog.
Julia takes so much inspiration from her life and transforms it into these scenes. Maybe it's because she knows what it's like when her body can't support her in the ways that she needs. So when she is able to feel cold water on her skin, or run through the mountains, or her eyes are able to see a flock of birds or an evaporating cloud, it's so meaningful. She also knows what it's like to miss these moments, to yearn for the ability to see and feel and be. You can see this both in her art and in her way of being. She can float on her back for hours in the stream, enraptured by the water, unable to break her gaze with the canopy, taking it all in. No matter how sick she feels, she always makes the effort to just sit in the sun and feel the afternoon soak across her skin. Her paintings extend this appreciation that she has for the grand intricacies, the massiveness of the small moments. They're a way of singing gratitude back to the world, a way of honouring the sun or the stream or her body that moves her through the world. In her millions of strokes, she notices. How she gets through being sick is noticing all of the little things, the small moments of beauty amongst the grand picture of life. Julia once told me the secret to her art practice. She said that it's as simple as pausing to notice the details around us, seeing the seasons change, the light shift, and the colours blend. She said that when you pause, you notice the complexity of life all around you. The mist weaving through the valley, the seasons changing, and the kookaburra's soft wings. These details are like brushstrokes on canvas. They meld to create a whole, circular in its entirety. And I think this practice of creating and noticing this beauty is one of the best ways we can learn to connect to the earth and heal alongside nature. And I think it's pretty obvious that her paintings have become these sort of shrines for nature. Through her learned ability to find beauty in the smallest details of the world, she documents this in the same way, teaching us all to do the same.
We have to think about who we are now. Well, I'm not good at faking, but it'll change in me somehow. I could not stop smiling as all the joy in me drained out. And you were on both sides, pulling me up and dragging me down. It took time for me to find you were on both sides, pulling me up and dragging me down.
Anyway, I just thought I would let you know everything that's happening here and just be completely honest with you guys. We're pretty scared for Julia's big surgery in a few days, but I think if there's any chance that it can make her feel just a little bit better, then it's worth it. Your words always mean so much to her, so please send your love and I'll read out all the comments to her, or I don't know, maybe I'll make a card and put all of your names on it. And don't forget, you can check out her art print store and get some beautiful art for your home, and at the same time you'll be supporting Julia a lot, so that would really mean the world to her. All of the paintings that Julia's made in the last few years are all available, so if you have a favourite, it's there, and you can get it either framed or unframed or in 3 different sizes, so there's lots of options. The music in this video is by Maple Glider, who's an amazing local musician doing really cool things. And yeah, just thank you for watching, thank you for always being there for us, we really appreciate it, and I'll be back next week with another update, probably. And yeah, thank you all, and thank you to our patrons who are always there to support us. It really means so much to us, this community is everything.
I wanted more.